Greetings, Gilliam the Rogue here, back once again with a Summerset discussion video, going over the crafted sets that are coming along with this expansion chapter, whatever the heck you want to call it. So in this video, similarly to the other ones, I will be discussing how overall happy I am with the sets, how they're performing, things that I found out with them, like in terms of scaling mechanisms, maybe a little cool tricks that you can use, or maybe some hiccups, some progression blocking, or like impairing functionality, stuff like that. Just generally giving feedback and kind of measuring whether it's worth to be hype as of now or not to be with these sets. I'll be doing them again when they go live if they see any changes. So if these sets get changed around, which Zos has already kind of hinted at being interested in doing with some of them, I'll do another review video once the patch goes live with them. So in this video, again, we're going over the crafted set. And the first one is going to be called Adept Riders. And the place that you craft that is at the Shimmereni Dockworks, which is right by Shimmereni, the major city that you first visit in Summerset. So it's very close. As a crafted set, you can craft it in jewelry, heavy, light, medium, any weapons you want. Doesn't matter, can be any style you want. I just have boring old Breton on right now because it's the first choice. But yeah, here it is, the Adept Rider set. Let's look through the 2 through 4 piece first. So we got a spell and physical resistance for the 2 and 3 piece. I kind of wish that they were bundled up together in halves. So if you don't want to wear the full 5 piece, generally I'm not a big fan of the X or Y resistance, just singular buffs. I like when they're halved and put together, but whatever. And then the 4 piece is max health, so generally decent for a tank. Not going to be all that great for a damage dealer, but in PvP it can give you a little bit of extra mitigation. Again, these values could be pumped up with gold values. We're going to be looking through everything at purple rarity. And then the 5 piece is a very interesting but a little bit peculiar, and that is while mounted you gain major evasion, giving you 15% dodge chance. So might help you avoid that gank 15% of the time, possibly. And then dismounting spawns a dust cloud at wherever you dismounted from, not the landing position. I'll demonstrate that later. For 12 seconds. So a big dust cloud will show up. I'll demonstrate in a bit, dealing X physical damage every 1 second to enemies who stand inside it. And then you and up to 5 nearby allies, or 6 allied targets in general, can stand inside of it and gain major evasion. So it does have a target cap. You can't just put a whole Zerg in there and everyone gain evasion. And then you can create a dust cloud every 12 seconds. However, some major issues with this right off the bat is it's while you're dismounting. So if you're in combat, you will not be able to get on your mount, dismount, and resummon the thing. So this is more of a hit and run, like drop in, everyone go in, go ham, and if you wipe them, then you can move to the next one and use the set again. But you can't use this in the midst of combat. It's not going to be something that you can generally use, especially in Cyrodiil, where that's kind of the only mounting PvP area, because you can't mount in battlegrounds, you can't mount in duels. So in Cyrodiil you can mount, but if you're locked in combat, which is most of the time, because if you heal an ally who's in combat, you're still in combat. If someone in your group who's near to you is in combat, you get roped into combat. So you can't really utilize this much unless you're just wiping group after group, and even then, this isn't really helping that playstyle. So it's very awkward in terms of the proc, like the value you're going to be able to really apply or interact with this set. And then again, the other thing is you can't mount in duels, you can't mount in battlegrounds, so you can't use it there. And then you can't mount in trials or dungeons either. So this set kind of has no place as it stands, because mounting in general, not something you can really do too often because of being locked into combat, etc. So kind of disappointed right off there, but it is an interesting idea. So again, what happens is you're going to go ahead and get on your mount, and then you're going to gain that major evasion buff. So hopefully no one finds a way to break this, although I'm sure someone will. And then we are going to dismount. So I'm going to press my H button again, and then as soon as I press that H button, it places. So not where you land. Notice how I kind of slid forward, but it summons this big dust cloud, and it's going to deal physical damage again at the purple tooltip with no CP, no passives. It is 1386. It will scale with... Let's see, where is it? Right here. I have my sets. It will scale with Mighty and Thaumaturge because it is damage over time, dealing physical damage. However, I have found a bug with this set, and it is using spell penetration. Yes, physical damage, but it will use spell mitigation, so their resistance as well as your spell penetration and reduction to calculate its damage. So it's a magical effect, but dealing physical damage. I'm pretty sure it's a bug. But yeah, I went on a target, I casted Puncture, the damage didn't increase, but then I casted Ellie Drain, and then the damage went up. So kind of weird. I also tested with Spell Erosion. It works the same way, but it is not affected by Elemental Expert or Master at Arms. The tooltip is affected by Master at Arms, but the actual damage is not. The actual damage is affected by Thaumaturge and Mighty. And then Spell Erosion, because Spell Penetration, Piercing gives physical penetration. And again, as a proc set, it cannot crit, so it's not going to use Piercing or anything like that. So some weird stuff in here between how it procs and how important it is, etc. So Adept Rider, there it is. Again, I'm not very happy with how it procs in general, because another thing is that if you kind of are casting this and then you're going to dismount into a group of enemies, notice how I landed and it procced back there instead of here. If I'm going to jump in and surprise enemies, I want it to land, or I want it to proc where I'm landing, not where I'm dismounting. So kind of, again, disappointed with that. Like, if I'm going to be running into a group, you have to first reach them and then make sure the momentum system doesn't knock you in a position that you don't want to be, and then hold still and then drop. So again, as soon as you block or hold or press H or whatever dismount button you have, it will drop there instead of where your character slides to. So again, kind of disappointed with that. I can just demonstrate again. So I tap block, and it puts it back there. And then, again, I can't just go ahead and drop another one. You have to wait the 12-second duration. So pretty disappointed with the set from all bounds. It's a little bit buggy. The sound is cool when it procs, but again, like, it spawns like 10 feet behind me. Pretty big area. It is a little bit bigger than it suggests. Like, I believe it, yeah, it's still giving me major evasion out here. So it's the hitbox is a little bit deceiving, but generally, it looks cool when it's up, but it's just too hard to get up. It has some weird hiccups with it, but there it is, the Adept Rider set. Again, crafted. You can get it in any style, any weight, any slot you wish. So here we are at the next station, and that is the Nocturnal's Favored Station. Again, as a crafted set, you can make it in any style, any weight, any armor piece, or whatever. Here it is, the Augury Basin. It is still in the Summerset area, so remember, Shimmerine Docks was for the Adept Rider. This is for Nocturnal's Favor. Again, crafted set. We already know about it. Let's look through the set bonuses. So we got a 2-piece Stamina Recovery, a 3- and 4-piece Max Health, so it definitely seems a little bit more PvP or tank-oriented, although as tanks, if you're holding block, you're not going to be able to get that stam regen. So a little bit of an identity crisis as a set in general. And then whenever you successfully dodge, you heal yourself for X health with a 2-second cooldown. So some things to note, this can proc off of passive dodge, such as Major Minor Evasion or sets like Glory, as well as hard or active dodge, which is the dodge roll ability or animation your character goes through. And then the healing will only heal you, so it will use your healing done as well as your healing received. Furthermore, in the CP system, it will scale with Blessed as well as Quick Recovery, because those are healing received and done stats. And then it has an internal cooldown, meaning you cannot get this to proc more than once every 2 seconds. So even if you dodge 50 billion attacks, when it first can proc, you will only get 1 heal out of it. So I tested to see maybe if I heal 3 attacks all at once, maybe it'll give me 3 heals and then go on cooldown. Nope, it procs once, you get your heal, and then you can't proc it again within another 2 seconds. So, it will also be affected by healing reductions, such as Battle Spirit, Major Defile, Minor Defile, and item sets such as those. So, in PvP, which is more most people will probably see this set being used, it will have a high reduction or sort of counter or counterplay ability to it, because again, you can just put healing debuffs on them, etc. And then as a damage dealer, where most people think this will be used on a class like a Stamina Nightblade, a little bit of a slippery class, able to dodge a lot, or even just any class running well fitted or something of the sort to just dodge roll a lot, they think, oh, this is going to be really broken. Well, again, can't multi-proc, will be affected by Battle Spirit. This is the purple value. At gold, it goes up to 4,000. Again, will be affected by healing received and done amps, but as well as reduction. So generally going to heal for about 2,000. 2,000 divided by 2 is 1,000 healing per second, barring no amplifications or reductions, so not all that great. Again, the 2 through 4 piece is pretty unstellar. If it was like all stamina recovery, or like 2 stam, 1 stamina recovery, or 2 stamina recovery, 1 stam, it would probably be a little bit better, but I think they wanted to give it a more universal appeal to it, so they gave it 2 health bonuses and then the stamina recovery. Even as a Magicka build, if you're going to try and use the 5 piece, you're going to want stam recovery, so generally not all that impressed by the set. I can quick go find a mob and just proc it and demonstrate really quick the visual effects and stuff like that. As a proc set, it cannot crit, all that sorts of stuff. So generally not all too intrigued by it, but I'll just dodge the attack. Okay, I'm gonna miss the dodge. You gonna attack me? This guy attacks really slowly. All right, let's go find a different mob because this guy is a dumbass apparently. So punch this kid, because we don't need more dumbasses in the world. Alright. The Griffin. I will dodge the next attack. I will miss another dodge. The Griffin will also hit the nothing, so I'll dodge that. There it is. There's the heal. So it's a cool little visual purple effect. I can demonstrate again in just a sec if this thing decides to hit me or not. Summerset mobs have a very hard time at hitting your character, apparently. Like, this is kind of funny. Alright, we saw the effect. So, the set in general, the proc is cool, but the effect is kind of redundant. Like, it's not all that great. Can be reduced again, especially from a PvP standpoint. Not going to be augmenting gameplay too much. It will help out the roly-poly build, but again, it's not going to help them deal damage or anything like that. Maybe this guy can demonstrate it a little bit better. Or not. He will miss the attack as well. Holy shit. I don't think any Summerset mob can actually deal damage to you. This is kind of pathetic. I can't even demonstrate dodging attacks because Summerset mobs have difficulty hitting you with their basic abilities. Anyways, we saw the effect earlier. It looked cool, but has a cooldown. You're not going to just embrace yourself in shadow. Do I see it being utilized? Probably not too much. It would be cool to use with the Gloomgrace set because it gives you major evasion. That can proc it as well, and then you just be healing a lot. So maybe if like an evasion tank, thematically, those would be the sets to use, but efficiency or effectiveness-wise, it's probably not going to be all that great. This has a long cooldown. This has a cooldown. They're both proc sets. They can't crit. You're going to be affected by Battle Spirit, yada, yada, yada. Pretty disappointing. But now we'll go to the final crafted set, which is Slode's Embrace. So that one is in Artaeum. So I've got to pull up our map and go outside of the realm of Tamriel, and then I'll fast forward. Alright, so here we are at the final crafted station, which is called Slode's Embrace, or Slode's Semblance is the name of the set, but then if we look at the actual set, it's part of the Slode's Semblance, so I guess it's been reworked from Slode's Embrace to Semblance. It is found in Artaeum, which again is outside of the world. You have to go all the way out and click here. You can get here from doing the first main story quest in Summerset, or teleporting to a way shrine that a friend is at. Again, as a crafted set, any style, any weight, any weapon, anything you want, you can do whatever you want with it, so it's not restricted to specific builds. We'll look through the set bonuses. We have a max stam and a max Magicka bonus, so 2 pieces Magicka, 3 piece is stamina, 4 piece is spell and weapon damage, so a pretty hardy balance between all of it. We kind of see that with a lot of more damage dealer crafted sets these days. Very well-balanced set, going to give you a lot of everything. Very helpful for PvP as well, because even if you're a Magicka build, you're going to use stamina. Even if you're a stamina build, you're going to use Magicka, so pretty nice hardy balance. And then the 5 piece is the real kicker. Damaging an enemy has a 10% chance to put Leeching Shadow on them, dealing X Oblivion damage every 1 second for 6 seconds, with a 6-second cooldown. So it can effectively have a 100% uptime, but it does have that RNG of you need to be dealing damage with that 10% roll. If it passes go, or you roll the 6 or the 20 or whatever phrase you want to say, you will get the proc, but then it cannot proc again for another 6 seconds. Upon activation, it deals 1 tick of damage, and then every second for the 6 seconds it deals damage, so it does 7 total ticks of damage. And the only way to increase Oblivion damage is to increase the value. So at purple, it's 824, and I think at gold, it's like 860 or something like that. It will not scale with CP, so Master at Arms, Thaumaturge, none of that will apply to it. It will not scale with percent amps like Minor Berserk. Sometimes the tooltip may seem like it will be affected by damage amps, but it will not. The actual damage is always static, even ignoring Battle Spirit. And furthermore, it will always ignore damage reduction as well. It will cut through damage shields as Oblivion damage does, so it ignores literally everything, positive and negative. So in terms of its damage production, 824 per second is kind of whatever. I mean, it is a little bit of added pressure. You could, again, get that a little bit higher if you go with gold. But in general, the 5Ps isn't going to be too powerful in vacuum. However, if you get a lot of people wearing the set and everyone procs it on the same person, that's going to be a lot of pressure then. So it might incentivize Zergs a little too much, but kind of whatever. Maybe if instead just put a limit of how many effects this can be, or how many numbers of this dot can be on one person, so you can't just have a Zerg of 20 people with Slode's robe and then just run everyone over with Oblivion damage. Maybe just make it like that. I haven't tested that. I don't know if it has a target cap or whatever in terms of how many dots you can have, but just word of warning sort of thing. Be on the lookout for that. But again, generally not too OP, can be used in PvE or PvP. It cannot crit because it's Oblivion damage, so not going to be all too impressive from a PvE standpoint or a PvP standpoint. But again, it is Oblivion damage. Everyone loves the cheesiness of Oblivion damage because it does ignore mitigation and all that sorts of stuff. So you can definitely make some builds out of it, maybe mix it with Night Slayer and just be Oblivion Lord, or like have an edgy Daedric title or something like that and do a lot of Oblivion damage. But in general, it's not going to be really killing anyone as like a big burst killer, especially in PvP. Not going to be all that great against healers because they can kind of just heal through it, but maybe against if you just have a lot of Oblivion damage, it'll help kill or shield stackers or something of the sort. But in general, kind of not impressed by this set in general, but it is something new. I'm sure someone will find a use for it, but let's go find a mob where I can proc this on. I'm not actually sure if Artaeum itself has any hostile entities within it, so we might have to go searching a bit here. Is there anything on the outskirts? I see some mud crabs, I think. Maybe we can punch some mud crabs. There we go. All right. There is the Slode's Embrace proc. We see a purple glowy effect, Slode's Semblance. I keep calling it Embrace because that's what it was called at the player test. But it did 7 ticks of damage. Wasn't a lot. Target is still alive. And again, it cannot multi-proc, so it can't refresh. You have to wait for the full 6 seconds. So not all that great, but could be worse. That is for sure. That is the end of all of the crafted sets in general. Yeah, just again, kind of disappointed. There's a lot of cool themes to them. They're visually impressive, like the shadowy effects. Really, really cool. Fits in lore-wise with what's going on here. But they're just not augmenting gameplay enough or impactful enough that makes you say, damn, I really want to wear that 5P set, other than some cool flashy visuals. But in terms of character optimization and efficiency in general, all three of them, Nocturnal's Favor, Adept Rider, and Slode's Semblance, are all pretty disappointing. So hopefully we see some stuff change with that. I'm not sure what could really be done with Adept Rider. I would kind of just like to see maybe if you cover a certain amount of distance instead of being mounted, it procs instead. That way you could use it in PvE or in PvP instead of, like, again, when you're mounted, you're going to have a hard time remounting because you can't mount in combat. In most PvP content, you're going to be stuck in combat anyways, and you can't use it in trials and stuff like that, so not all that great. The Nocturnal's Favor set, not crazy, not too awful either. I'm kind of just disappointed in general with it. I don't think that it should multi-proc because that would be way too strong, or maybe if they could remove the cooldown but then just lower the amount of healing it gives, like make it like 700 healing or something like that, but remove the cooldown. That way, like, in Battle Spirit it'd only be 350, but if you really optimize dodge rolling, maybe get like 3 or 4 procs, you're going to get somewhat of a healing burst out of it. But as it stands right now, kind of just whatever, not too impressed, not too disappointed with it. It's kind of just there. And then again, the slowed set, not enough damage in my opinion, but again, you don't want to make it too much damage because it is Oblivion damage. Maybe have it dynamic damage where it does physical or spell, depending on what kind of attack procs it, and then make it a lot stronger. Maybe have it add on to pre-existing damage. But there it is. There are all the crafted sets. Hopefully this helped you figure out where they are, what to be looking out for, as well as joining in the discussion. Let me know how you guys think about these sets. Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? What would you like seeing done? Join the discussion. Again, always try and make sure that you stay constructive. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.